Hi guys, and welcome back to Beautyfortyfied. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Sue and I am a skincare and makeup addict. I also make videos aimed at the more mature woman. And today I'm talking about how to create a capsule makeup wardrobe. Now, a capsule makeup wardrobe is very much like a clothing capsule wardrobe, and that is a mixture of products that you can mix and match that are absolutely timeless. And once you have laid down your capsule wardrobe, you can then accessorize. So then you can start looking at fashion items, as it were, or things that you wouldn't ordinarily wear in the course of everyday events, but things that you might want to add to your capsule wardrobe. So makeup is no different. And like a clothing capsule wardrobe, with makeup, you're probably also going to want to spend a little bit more on the basics. Now, generally, high-end formulas do work better on more mature skin, and that is a huge generalization. I know that some people find foundations in the drugstore that are absolutely perfect for their skin, and they also find eyeshadows and other products. But generally speaking, if you have a product that's going to last you a long time, you want something that's great quality and that's going to make the most of your complexion. So I'm going to be talking about the makeup wardrobe in my context. So I'm not talking about anything that's brand specific. All these things are specific to my texture and skin tone and coloring, but they're just things that will give you an idea of what to look for if you want to put together a basic capsule makeup wardrobe. So the first thing that I would do is, looking at foundation, I would choose two foundations. Now, for me personally, I like a medium coverage everyday foundation, something that can take me from morning to night. But along with that, you might want something a little bit lighter to wear on high days and holidays or no makeup days. And for that, I would recommend something like a tinted moisturizer, a BB cream, or a CC cream. So in my case, I would choose something like the Estee Lauder Double Wear. Now, this would be the foundation that takes me from morning to evening. You can also share this one out just as an aside, but this one is a really great one for my skin. On days when I want a little bit less coverage, or I'm going to the beach, or if it's really hot and humid and I've already got my sunscreen on and I just want a very light layer of something, then I would tend towards something like the Dior Backstage. You can also look at things like the MAC Face and Body as well. So one medium cover or medium to full cover foundation would suit me, and then I would want a second option just for days when I want to pare things down and I'm looking for something with a little bit of a lighter coverage. The next thing to look at would be concealer, and in this case I have found a high-end concealer that really works for me. So I did spend a little bit more money on this. It is more of an investment, but this is one that I am going to be able to use all year round, and it's really great for my needs. The one that I use is the Chanel Le Corrector. It's a really good one, but it does give very light coverage. If you are needing something to hide dark circles, then obviously you would look at a formulation that is specific to that. But a really great concealer will do you all year round. And if you can get a concealer that not only works under your eyes, but that also works in covering up blemishes, then all the better. Onto setting powder. If you have normal combination skin like I have, you're probably going to want a setting powder. And if I had to choose one, I've got the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless, and I use this all the time. I do have a lot of other ones in my collection, and I do use other things from time to time. I do alternate, but in all reality, if you find one that works for you, then stick with that one. If you have dry skin, you might want something like a finishing powder, which is not going to absorb oils because you're generally not going to be as oily as somebody with normal combination skin. So you might want something like the the number 7 triple action finishing powder, and this is just a very light one if you do have dry skin. So pick one powder and that will be absolutely great in your capsule makeup wardrobe. The next product that you're going to need is an eyebrow pencil or a brow pomade. So as we age, our eyebrows do get quite a lot thinner. they get quite sparse and we need just a little bit of something to fill them in. Eyebrows really frame the face, and it's the one thing that you can do to really just add some definition and bring back some definition to your eyes and your face at the same time. So for eyebrows, I use the Benefit pomade. I really like this one, and it really is very quick and easy to apply. So again, I would spend a little bit of money in finding the right product that works for you. When it comes to eyeliner, you really don't need a whole slew of eyeliners in every single different color. If it were up to me, I would choose two. So I would choose one that's staple and neutral that I can use every day. And then I would choose a color one. And in this case, I use the MAC eyeliner, and this is in the shade Teddy. I like this because it is a soft brown, so it does give me a little bit of definition, but it's really not too harsh. And then for a little bit of fun, because I do love greens and khakis, I would probably go for something like the Stila pencil. This is in the shade Tiger's Eye, and it's just something to add a little pop of color. But if I had to choose between them, I would definitely stick to the neutral MAC Teddy. Eyeshadows can be a bit of a minefield, so if you are thinking of putting a palette together, then my advice would be to choose something that's quite neutral. And once you've got that in place, then you can add shadows that have little pops of color, or what I deem high fashion shadows from brands like e.l.f. and Essence. But to get the basics right, I think is very important. So I would start off with a palette of 4 neutrals. So what are the types of shadows that you need? You would probably need an all-over shade that could also work as a crease color. So something that's just a little bit darker than your natural skin color. And the one that I would choose is a MAC one, and this is in the shade Sandstone, and it's just a really universal taupey brown, and I use that to define my crease, and that's what I'm wearing on my eyes today. Then in terms of lid colors, I personally would choose 2 shimmers, and one would be a more neutral one and one would be a light one. The neutral one that I would choose is one that I have on today, and this is in the color Sable, also by MAC, and it just adds a little bit of sheen to the eyelid. I absolutely love it, and it really can make green eyes and blue eyes pop, and it's just a beautiful neutral bronzy shade. And the reason why I'm talking about MAC eyeshadows in particular is because they do sell them singly, so they do allow you to build up your own palette. So you might find a palette that does contain all these shades, that has a bit of everything, and Wet n Wild Walking on Eggshells springs to mind. Or you might decide that you want to go in to a place like MAC where you can create your own collection. So staying on the topic of lid shadows, another one that I would get would be something a little bit paler, and this one is the MAC Naked Lunch. Now it's a very light kind of pink, and it can also work as an inner corner highlight. So this is great all over the mobile lid. It really, again, it makes your lids pop. It's great if you've got hooded eyes because you just have a little bit of hint of color. It will make the mobile lid protrude, and it really works well with Sable and with Sandstone. So all of these shades really work well in a palette together. And then the 4th shade that you're probably going to need is something that you're going to be able to use to define your eyes and to add a little bit of drama should you need it. And the one that I've chosen is the MAC eyeshadow Embark. And this is a rich, dark, sort of reddy brown. And this is really great to use on the outer corner of the mobile lid. You can also use it to line your lower lash line. You can also smudge it into the crease. So these 4 shadows they work really well in unison. You can use them on their own as well. So I think the secret is to get a shade of neutrals that really work for your coloring. So whatever that might be, you might want to get something on the darker spectrum or shades on the lighter spectrum, but 1 for the crease, 2 for the mobile lid, and then 1 just to accentuate the eye. Onto mascara, and I've always maintained that you don't need to spend a lot of money on mascara. There are some great drugstore brands out there, and you might decide that you need two. So you might want to go for something for everyday wear, and you might want a waterproof version for when you're spending the day at the beach. The one that I'm using at the moment that I really love is the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise. I'm really enjoying this. It does dry out quite quickly, so I'm using it while it lasts. And then if I had to choose a waterproof one, I would go with the Essence Lash Princess. And this is a really good one. But again, you don't need to have two. You could get away with one if that is your preference. Moving on to blush, there are such a plethora of textures and shades out there that it can be really overwhelming. So if I were to choose, if I was building up my makeup collection, I would personally get a cream blush for days where I'm not going to be wearing foundation, or days when I do want just a little bit of a glow or a dewy finish on the cheeks. Cream blushes are very flattering on mature skin. I would also go for a matte blush if I wanted something for everyday wear that made me look quite polished. And then I would go for a glowy blush on days where I just wanted to add a pop of shimmer to my cheeks. And these are ones, just examples of ones that I would probably choose. This is the Wet n Wild Pearlescent Pink. So this has got just a little bit of shimmer in it. It doesn't accentuate pores, but it's just lovely. It really does liven your face. For a matte blush, I would probably choose MAC Melba. It's just such a versatile blush, and it really applies beautifully. So really love that one. And in terms of a cream blush, I would probably go for a MAC Glow Play blush. And this one is in the shade Blush Please. So this is just a little bit more pink than the other two. But you need to choose, obviously, what kind of color tone suits you and work from there. If I had to choose one of the three, it would probably be the MAC Melba Matte Blush, because it is just so versatile. Then looking at highlighters. Now, if you're starting out, you really only need one. So it's your preference whether you would prefer a liquid highlighter or a powder highlighter. I generally prefer powder just for ease of application. And so if I had to choose, I would choose something like this palette from Crease, the Luminize highlighter palette. And this has got three options in it. So I do generally tend to go for the middle option, but you really don't need thousands of highlighters. Just pick one that really works with your skin tone and you'll be good. In terms of bronzers, again, you don't need 100 different bronzers. I would choose one that can warm up the complexion and can act as a contour at the same time. And one that I love that does those things is this blush by MAC, and it's called Prism. And it really is a lovely versatile color. It works as a bronzer, you can build it up, and you can also use it to contour. So find one that suits your skin tone. You don't need 50 bronzers. And finally, for lipsticks, this is a real conundrum for a lot of women, but I think if you had to narrow it down, you could get away with two lipsticks, at least to start with. So it's important to find your everyday shade, and I go for one from MAC, and it's called Sea Sheer. It's the one that I'm wearing today, and I can pair this with a very peach blush or something that's slightly pinker. It really just goes with a multitude of makeup looks. I would consider it a bit of a neutral. So that's what it looks like, and that would be my everyday lipstick. But then I would also want something that can take me from day to night. And for that, I've got one of my all-time favorites, and it's a Revlon lipstick, and it's in the shade Rum Raisin. And this can also be paired with a very neutral cheek, and it can also be used to take you from day to night. And so guys, if I was starting from scratch, that is how I would go about curating a capsule makeup wardrobe. I hope you found this video interesting and inspiring. I'm going to be linking my video to my top 6 MAC eyeshadows. You might find that interesting. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.